Okay, everybody, it's October 5th, 2016, and I wanted to show you my 12 by 24 two-story barn with an 8 by 12 bump out in the front. Just a quick story. I wanted one of these for my backyard, so I went and priced the ones by the Amish or whatever else, and after walking through them and looking at their prices, I was just floored at the inexpensive material used, as well as the high price. So as an amateur with more guts than brains, I guess, I said, what the hell, I'm gonna do this myself. I'm a big believer in YouTube. YouTube has taught me how to do a ton of stuff, home repairs, right down to college homework. So I said, why not actually use it to help me build one of these things? So that's what I did. It's taken me about a year and a half of just a few hours here, a few hours there kind of deal. When I had money, I bought materials. When I didn't have any money, I didn't buy materials. So this is a year and a half process, and it's still not quite done, but it's certainly along the way. Just to start real quickly, the foundation, what I did is I have 3 rows of 4x4s buried 4 feet into the ground and secured with cement. You can see they're about every 4 feet. I have a new 4x4, and they are secured to the 8x10 by big lag bolts, and you can see the other one about 4 feet apart, So it's quite sturdy, that's for sure. And I'm here in the Northeast in Syracuse, New York, so the frost line obviously is an issue. So I wanted to make sure I got down 4 feet. So the foundation nice and strong. Used pressure treated 8x10s. I went up from there. I initially started building this. My wife was not totally on board with this big barn in the backyard until I asked her about, how about make you your own little crafts room? And my oh my, her attitude changed. So that explains the little bump out here that I have attached to it. This is 8 by 12, and she uses this as her little craft area. You can see I got 2 windows. It's got its own door, private entrance, and it's going to be a mess in here, but that's not the point. So this is her little area where she does her craft work and stuff. Obviously all this I've done myself as a total amateur. I never had a construction job in my life. I have no training. What I have is YouTube videos that teach me the basics, and then it's trial and error from there. So learning how to put windows in, and doing drywall semi professionally. Floor is just that floating floor stuff, the pergo, whatever you want to call it. And if I close it up here, it is fairly roomy in here. But anyways, by the time I decided to build this part, I had most of the main building done, so this was pretty easy. So anyways, that's her little area that got me out of trouble for building this monstrosity in my backyard. Go to the front here. This is the entrance to the main barn, and yes, that is a Donald Trump flag. I am a shameless Donald Trump fanatic, so I have to have the barn graced with the Trump flag. Anyways, as you can see, the front, double windows. This is 2-story, as I said. The roof trusses, everyone told me they were so hard to build, and I was going to have to buy them and all that, and that's total baloney. Building the roof trusses was the easiest part of this project. There's a website that I'll post that shows you exact measurements and angles of your chop saw, to set it at, to build this barn style roof, any size you want. This obviously is 12 foot across, but it was a piece of cake building these trusses. So don't think you got to buy it, because it's baloney. So walking into the place, again, this is 12 by 24 and this is basically, I'll call this my area. This is the man cave kind of hangout area, or at least it will be. I had a custom bar built, and you know, ceiling fans. I have not done the ceiling yet. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that. I was planning to actually leave it alone, but you know, whatever. Flooring was, again, it's that locked together stuff. Pergo flooring. I got this at Mr. Seconds. It was like $2.40 a square foot. So I did the whole thing for about $800, I think it was, roughly. So it's nice and roomy in here. Got the man cave 1940s refrigerator all restored. That will be where the adult beverages go. And once again, I told you I'm a shameless Donald Trump fan. So there's my Donald Trump bobblehead. He likes the barn too. You like the barn, Donald? Yeah, Donald likes the barn. So anyways, that's the lower level. A couple windows in place. Stained, this is just cheap wood I used to box the windows in. Again, this is a barn, it's not a house, so didn't need to use high-end material. So I just got some cheap boards, framed in the windows, stained it to match the bar. Same thing with the baseboard. It's just cheap lumber I used instead of real baseboard stuff, and just stained it to match the windows. The electrical I did not do. I know nothing about electrical work. I farmed that out. And just to be honest with everything, I also farmed out the roofing shingles. I am deathly afraid of heights. So I had a couple guys come in and actually lay the shingles on. I did do the plywood, put that in place. But I did not do the shingling. So that was outsourced, and the electrical work was outsourced. Everything else was done by me. And for the electrical, while I'm talking about that, I basically just attach it to the box of the house, dug this trench, which you can kind of see, and my lawn is still messed up. Buried the wire, brought it out here. Installer put a little sub panel out here, and it's worked out very well. He did a nice job. So there that is. It's also a water line out here. That's not this year's project, that's next year's project. So I'm gonna end up doing a miniature little bathroom kind of thing, but not there yet. That'll be next year. As far as the upstairs goes, this is kind of claimed by my kids. Stairs, once again, did myself, and people say they're nearly impossible to do without training, and I gotta be honest, it took me 2 tries. The first step I put in, I guessed and measured it all the way up. I was a little bit off. I took it out, adjusted the first step, went all the way up. It worked out perfect. And people say that's just beginner's luck. That's almost impossible to get it right. I use no mathematical formulas or any sort of crap like that. I just put one in and went with it. So I simply got lucky. That's really all that happened, is I got lucky. I could probably never do it again, but I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take it. So, all right, up the stairs. This is where my kids kind of hang, but had their buddies over for sleepovers and stuff like that. This is about, with the stairway, this is approximately 12 by 20. Yeah, 12 by 20. I lost about 4 feet with the staircase. So they love it out here. I got a high-speed cable, high-speed internet. So they sit out here in the barn with the buddies, and they play their PlayStation games, or whatever you want to call them, and a couple of air beds and stuff. So it's basically their kind of hangout area, and they love it up here. So all right, back down again. The point of this video isn't to show you my designs. It's really to tell you that you can do this yourself. I mean, these contractors get a fortune for, putting these things together. And it's really not that difficult with some basic knowledge of building. And what you don't know, you can learn from YouTube. I mean, I didn't know what a header or a footer was. I didn't know any of that stuff. I didn't know how to put a window in. But you learn. I didn't know about, spacing. What someone said, 16 on center or 12 on center. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? So I learned, the basics about everything. And once one wall goes up, everything just kind of starts to go. It goes really fast. And if you had a buddy with you that kind of knew half what he was doing, and you had the money to buy all the material at one time, I mean, this could be done in, I don't know, 2 weeks maybe. I know the real contractors can do something like this in 3 days. But it took me 1.5 years, again, because I didn't do any home improvement loans or any of that garbage. It's just whenever I had money to buy material, I bought stuff. And I just knew I had to have it covered before winter came. And that was last year's goal, which I did. So don't be afraid to just do this on your own. You start out with whatever platform you want. You make sure you're square. Don't do anything until you're square. And as long as you're square, you're good to go. Just keep going up. You can do different foundations, of course. A lot of people said I should have did the concrete foundation, but in the tax code here, I would have raised my taxes because it would have been a permanent structure. Even though this is a huge building, it's considered non-permanent because I have it, off the ground, on 4x4s. So my taxes didn't go up, and that's the reason why I used the 4x4s instead of, doing a real foundation. But anyways, that really is it. So again, this is 12x24. I got an 8x12 bump out. I think as far as the estimated cost between the electrical and everything, I probably have about 15 grand into this place. And if I was to hire this out, good Lord, this would be $35,000 deal here, I'm sure of it. So as long as you're not in a huge hurry and you have some basic tools, you really can build one of these things on your own. And not to mention, you'll build it correctly. The entire place, there's not a single 2x4 in this whole barn. The walls are 2x6s. The rafters, the floors are 2x10s. So this place is certainly built better than my house is. And that's what you get when you build it yourself. There's no junk wood. There's the only particle board I used was on the second subfloor. I used a real good plywood for the main floor, and then I went over it with this particle board stuff just to make sure I had a really smooth surface from, to put the pergo floor down. So it's actually a double floor. But this place should certainly outlive the house. And so I would recommend that. Upgrade your wood. It don't cost much more from a 2x4 to a 2x6. So I think it's worth it in the end. So anyways, that pretty much is it. That's the man cave. My wife calls her section the she shed. I guess that's a big thing now. Women having their own little area. And my kids kind of take the top up. Poles on the ground here I'm going to put a deck on, but I got a little ahead of myself. I won't get to that until next year, I'm sure. Next spring I'll start the deck. And I do have thoughts about heating. I haven't quite decided yet if I'm going to do a pellet stove or one of those ductless propane heaters that attach on the wall that you can get at like Home Depot for $200. Probably end up just doing that. Yeah, the insulation, by the way, I have R19 insulation stuffed through this entire barn. I mean, this place is stuffed tight. I did leave an air gap up the very top, the ceiling, of course, up there, which you need to have an airflow that I've learned about from a buddy of mine that told me I needed to do that. And there's ridge vent up there and stuff. But I insulated the hell out of this place because, once again, this is Syracuse and we get well below zero. And I wanted to make sure I could heat it during the winter without it costing me a fortune. So definitely, if you're building one of these things, insulate the hell out of it. But that is pretty well it. Once again, next year is the bathroom kind of deal. But about 15 grand. I wish I had the exact amount, but I kind of lost track after a while and got bored of keeping up with it. But yeah, I'd say 15,000 and very little in labor. The roof I farmed out. I paid $500 to have the roof done. So, and I paid $600 to have the electrical done. The rest of it was all on me. So, pretty cool. All right, that's it. If you have any questions, you can send me a message through YouTube, whatever. Once again, I'm no professional. I am definitely an amateur, but that really is all you need to be to build one of these things. It is. Contractors will make you think this is complicated, and you'll look at it and you'll get overwhelmed, but it's just building boards and putting them straight up in the air and making sure your stuff is square, and building your roof trusses. And again, that's real easy. I'll actually post a website I use to figure out how to build the trusses, but I cannot say this was hard to do, because it was not. It just required a lot of time. And I wish I had $15,000 just sitting here all at once. I could have bought all the material and had it done sooner, but that's okay. A little at a time, and it got done. So, all right, any questions? I'll try to answer them. Okay, that's it.